Okay, to start, I just went in and first of all had to put the lead rope back on her, and she was still leery of me being in her space. So it was a lot of pressure and then release, just with my hand around her halter, and you can see she really wants to communicate here. So I just took it easy, although I could have had it on quite a few times, approaching, and then could have just quickly snapped it on. I really didn't want to do that. I didn't want her to think that I was going to blow her mind and rush into it every time and then have her fearful of it. So I really took my time here, just having my hand underneath, and you can see she positions herself to have her left eye on me all the time. That's her go-to, to have me in her left eye and in that space. She tried to walk away. She was disconnected, not interested in the conversation anymore, and I really wanted her to be engaged, so I moved her. She turns back in, which was good. And again, I just pressure with my hand underneath. I did a lot of this for a while just to get her comfortable, and then I rubbed the lead rope on her neck where it was comfortable at her withers, because that's where I started, and then gradually moved up towards her face until she felt comfortable. And then once I was there, even though she moved her head away, her front feet didn't move. She stayed there and engaged, even though she's uncomfortable. And here we got less movement, so I just snapped it on and then let her go with it and let her have the feeling of the rope on her body. And let her calm down for a second, and then I just tossed the rope over her and let her get the feel of the use of the rope on her legs. Even though it's on the wrong side, the rope is going around the wrong side, it's on her, and I still get the benefit of her feeling the rope, the lead rope on her. So just toss it over and let her feel it hitting her legs. Having it drag behind her. Letting it hit her legs and fall on her side. It's good. Desensitization. She turned away from me, so when I didn't ask her to, so I made her turn back around, continue going in that direction. And then I asked her to go in that direction. She's really going well here and wanted to come in or on her own accord, have a conversation. So I rewarded that by giving her a little release, and she tracked up and followed up. Just good there. I'm happy with that. This filly is super stressed anytime I put pressure on her to move her out away from me. And so I have to gradually get acceptance to come back into her space. So anytime she allows me there, I really like to reward her almost immediately. And you can see that this side, her right side, is super, super, super sensitive. And she's still terrified on this side. So I go to this slide slowly and then immediately give her reward as she stands still. She appreciates that. I continue to work on this side for a while, playing with the lead rope at the bottom of the halter and rubbing the side of her face as well. She feels the halter getting moved on this side of her face, and she is a little leery, gets spooked. And that's okay. We just go back to the drawing board and start the whole process all over again. I let her run. She's just fleeing from the rope at that point, and then she's calmed down. So I'm just getting her used to the stick being on her on that side, and then I use the stick to pick up the rope. I'm not quite confident enough in bending down to pick up the rope next to her yet, and use that as an extension of my hand to flip the rope onto her. And again, letting her get used to that rope hanging off of her, hitting her on her side, hanging on her side, touching her rump, and she did pretty well actually. There, she moved out on her own. She felt that rope and kind of scooted out. And she's like, maybe I'll stop, but I've moved her on again. She seemed a little uneasy with it still. So I wanted her to feel it on the inside as well when she changes her balance to the inside. Feel how that weight of the rope moves differently. And she actually surprised me. She did really well. Here she turns in like she wants to have a conversation, and then she spooked herself. So I just let her keep moving until she calmed down and got used to the rope. Here you can see it slid off of her, and she did really well. She didn't scoot out really quick from underneath herself. That was a very good reaction. So I asked her to go back in the other direction, and she did so quietly, turned to the inside, which was out of frame, but she responded very well to that. Again, I'm using the stick to pick up the rope because she is so leery of me being in her space, and I didn't want her to get spooked or scared of something, either me or another horse or something in the environment, and then have a bad reaction. So I've got the end of the lead rope, and she's responding very well. Pressure on the face, she turns in immediately, so she's really super sensitive and soft on the face, which I was very happy about. We worked a lot on this, yielding her hindquarters at liberty, and she has responded really well to incorporating the halter and the pressure on her face. So we worked on this for a while. Again, I'm super happy of how she responded to that. She's very responsive to my body position. She does really well there. Ask her to hoe. She doesn't listen the first time and completely stopped and walked off, so I don't like to just hang on their face. I just popped her once. Short, abrupt, not abusive or mean, but I want her to understand that when I ask her to stop and turn in, I want it then and there. I don't want her to continue to go away from me before she decides to. And that's huge when you're training them, because if you have a horse that bolts in fear, they will not disengage their hind end immediately, and that can be dangerous. So that's what that's teaching her. As you can see here, she's kind of wanting to just lead on her own with very little to no pressure on the halter, which is really good. What I'm trying to do here is get to her side. I don't want her to back up, so that she will disengage her hindquarters without moving her forward. I just wanted to teach her that she can do that at a standstill when I ask her to. But she doesn't like me in her space yet, so I reincorporate the stick as the extension of my arm to get into that side of her bubble and move her hindquarters. And she responds really well. There. Good. And then what we do to one side, we teach the other. There, very good. This little filly is pretty smart. If I can get past her trust issues, and a really good response there if you saw her licking and chewing, so I was really happy with that too. Once she gets past her trust issues, she's gonna be a really nice little horse. So here I'm asking her to allow me into her space and let me touch her. So I start with the withers because that's where I have been rubbing her and praising her with this stick. And then quickly I'll just scratch down her back or scratch up her neck and then go back to the withers because that's what she's used to. And then each time incorporate a little farther distance from the withers so she gets used to it quicker. I don't go slow. I go slow in my approach, but not in the scratching and incorporating new parts of her. So here you can see she's super sensitive on her right side, but I stay with her until she stands still. I walk away before she backs up, so that's okay. I try to keep her in frame so you guys could see what it is I'm doing here. Again, scratching her and then letting the carrot stick go farther back. But I won't release until she stands still. She's thinking about it. And I just keep doing this, rotating this on both sides.